When you think about the world of technology, there are giants, and then there's Apple. It's so much more than just a company, isn't it? It's a cultural force that has totally reshaped how we live, how we work, and how we connect with each other. This is the story of that unbelievable journey.
It's a question that honestly sounds like a myth, but it's a real story. It's a story of incredible vision, of crushing failure, and of one of the greatest comebacks in history. And really, to understand our modern world, you kind of have to understand how this all went down.
And just like so many of those great Silicon Valley legends, our story starts in the most humble place you can imagine. We're not in a fancy boardroom, we're in a garage with a simple but truly revolutionary idea. Let's put a computer in every home. Yup, you heard that right. The headquarters for what would become one of the most valuable companies on the planet was, unbelievably, a suburban garage. Back in 1976, the founders, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, were so all in that they sold their own stuff, a VW van and a scientific calculator, just to get the whole thing started. And man, did they move fast. The Apple, I was a brilliant start, sure. But it was the Apple II just a year later that changed everything. It was friendly, it was colorful, and it really put Apple on the map. By the time they announced the Macintosh in 1984, they were promising a full-on revolution. The launch of the Macintosh was a huge cultural moment. It was this bold statement, a whole new way of thinking about tech. But this incredible rise was about to hit a super dramatic and almost fatal fall. So you have to understand just how radical the Mac was. We were living in a world of clunky text commands, and this thing gave us a visual desktop and a mouse. It wasn't just a tool for work. It was built to be fun, to be creative, and to be intuitive. It was basically a promise of freedom from the gray, boring world of old tech. But here's the thing. For all the amazing innovation that everyone saw on the outside, the reality inside the company was completely different. There were massive power struggles, fierce competition from Windows PCs, and you know what? The Macintosh wasn't selling as well as they'd hoped. The creative vision was fighting a losing battle with business reality. And then, the unthinkable happened. The visionary, the co-founder, the very soul of the company, Steve Jobs, was forced out. I mean, can you imagine? It was a shocking move that left Apple without its leader and, for a lot of people, without any real direction. Over the next 10 years, Apple just lost its way. It put out this whole confusing line of products, it lost huge market share to Windows, and profits completely tanked. By 1997, the experts were literally writing Apple's obituary. The company was just months away from going out of business for good. But then came one of the most dramatic turnarounds in corporate history. Facing total collapse, Apple made one last desperate bet. It brought its founder back home. So when Steve Jobs came back, he brought this renewed, crystal-clear philosophy with him. And this quote, it would define everything that came next. Apple wasn't just going to make electronics anymore. It was going to fuse technology with art and design at its very core. Think about it. In an industry obsessed with processor speeds and specs, this was the key insight. Emotion, simplicity, and beauty, they weren't just features. They were the whole product. It was a revolutionary business strategy disguised as a design principle. And the impact was immediate. I mean, instantly. Out went all those dozens of beige, confusing computers. And in their place, the 1998 iMac. It was colorful, simple, and beautifully designed. It was an absolute global sensation. And just like that, Apple wasn't just saved, it was cool again. But hey, saving Apple, that wasn't enough. Jobs set his sights way higher. The goal wasn't just to build better computers anymore. The goal was to reinvent entire industries one device at a time. In 2001, Apple's next big thing was built around this one number, 1,000. 1,000 songs in your pocket. With the iPod in the iTunes store, Apple didn't just sell an MP3 player. It completely upended how we buy, listen to, and carry our music forever. Okay, now fast forward to 2007. Steve Jobs walks out on stage and starts teasing 3 revolutionary new products. First, a widescreen iPod with touch controls. Second, a revolutionary mobile phone. And third, a breakthrough internet device. The crowd was going absolutely wild. But of course, you know the punchline. It wasn't 3 separate devices. It was one device, and he called it the iPhone. By getting rid of the physical keyboard and introducing a multi-touch screen, and then later the App Store, Apple didn't just improve the phone, it single-handedly invented the entire modern smartphone era as we know it.
I mean, when you really step back and look at the whole picture, the impact is just staggering. From making computers personal and friendly, to changing music forever, to reinventing the phone, they set a whole new global standard for product design. And maybe most importantly, Apple proved that the marriage of art and technology could absolutely change the world. Now, after Steve Jobs' passing in 2011, the company entered a whole new era under CEO Tim Cook. The legacy of innovation definitely continued, but it also expanded in huge ways. Apple pushed deep into personal health with the Apple Watch, putting a powerful sensor on millions of wrists. It took control of its own destiny, creating its own super powerful M-series chips, revolutionizing its computers from the inside out. And now, it's exploring brand new frontiers with huge projects like the Vision Pro, proving that drive to redefine our relationship with tech is still very, very much alive. So this whole journey, from a small California garage all the way into your pocket, it has completely reshaped our daily lives in ways that used to be science fiction. Which leaves us with one last really exciting question to think about. As technology gets more and more woven into our lives, how is Apple's special blend of art and engineering going to define not just our devices, but our entire future?